So today I'm here and I was reading a book and a term popped out at me and I just liked it. I did. Sometimes words, I like words. And this particular word jumped out at me and I thought to myself, I can use that word. That word is something I can take and watch myself with, right? And so imagine being in a meeting, any situation actually, in a group situation or wherever you are, and something is going on and someone in the group or around you decides that what's going on could be done differently, could be done better, or just something needs to be said about it. And so they raise their hand or they just speak up and they say it. Now, after the situation has ended, you go over to this person and you say, wow, I'm really glad you spoke up. It's about time somebody said something about that. That right there is called a micro appreciation, right? You've gone over and you have given this person the credit for speaking up, but you did it in a manner where no one else hears it, right? Where that person, when they spoke up, they needed you to raise your hand then. They needed you to macro appreciate what they were saying then, right? So that it could have value then. It could help them then. But if you go up to them after in the wings or during the intermission and say, girl, I'm so glad you spoke up because I was about to. Well, that's a micro appreciation, right? No one else knows that you were about to, right? They stood alone in that moment. So when you have the opportunity to stand with someone else and you at that present time didn't maybe have the courage or maybe the words to say what needed to be said, then check yourself in those situations. And if you have the liberty to do so, be that person's me too. Yeah. Show up for that person, macro appreciate in the moment where it counts, okay, where it pays out, right? And the other thing that was brought up in this book, which I'm going to show you because I'm going to show you in a minute, is that when she's talking about this, she's talking about showing up, and that when she shows up, she goes through a 3-step process. And the 3-step process is to ask yourself these 3 things. Number 1, do you mean what you say? Don't just talk just to hear yourself talk. Do you mean what you say? Number 2, can you back it up? Because once you say something, people are coming for you. Okay, so can you back it up? And number 3, can you say it in a thoughtful manner? Yes, because if you can't say it in a thoughtful manner, a lot of people just won't hear you. They're just seeing you. And if it wasn't said in a manner that's receptive to them, it doesn't matter. It didn't work, right? So it's just a waste of words, right? So if you can't say it in a thoughtful manner where people are going to be able to hear what you said, right? And digest it and do something with it, right? Then maybe that's not the time to share it and you're going to be able to get those words together later. So, recap. Be a macro appreciator when given the liberty, right? Show up, be that person's me too, right? And number 1, mean what you say. Number 2, can you back it up? And number 3, can you say it thoughtfully so we can hear you, right? That's it. Now, let me, I don't want to mess up, but anyways, I'm reading this book right here. It's called Professional Troublemaker, and it's by Luvvie Ajayi Jones. And I was listening to a TED Talk, and her name was brought up just from one of the TED Talks that I was listening to. And her name was brought up, and it was some interesting thing she said. So I went and bought her book. I'm reading it. It's a good book. So I'm sharing a piece of it with you. All righty. Go macro appreciate.